Anna from Waitlisted at Hogwarts, and today I am bringing you my second review for my Fantasy Frenzy event that I am hosting, and that is for Heir of Thunder, Book 1 of the Stormborn Chronicles by Karissa Laurel. Heir of Thunder is about a 17-year-old girl named Evelyn Stormborn who has been raised to be the heir to her family's throne. After her father passes away and then her kingdom is attacked, she is forced to flee from her land with the young horse master named Gideon, who has promised to bring her to safety. She doesn't quite know she can trust him, but he's really the only opportunity she has to survive because she doesn't have any skills on her own, so she chooses to go with him and trust his word. Along their journey, several unfortunate events unfold, forcing her to find some hidden skills within her so that she can take back what she lost. I feel like that synopsis was pretty vague and ominous, but we're just gonna roll with it because that's the best synopsis I can give you. So if you want to look more into it, I'll have links in the description box where you can go check out this book. Anyways, before we get started into my non-spoilery thoughts on this book, I do want to place a trigger warning on sexual assault. There were some brief, non-descriptive cases of sexual assault where it was either like a scene was about to lead to sexual assault but it didn't, or it was like more of a minor case of sexual assault, although every sexual assault case is wrong. I do want to put that out there that I would place a trigger warning on that just in case. And I would also advise more mature older readers to read this book just because there are some more mature content things that are being discussed that I'm not sure younger readers would quite understand. So yeah, older readers would probably enjoy this more than younger ones, just in an understanding level, I guess. So just putting that out there, hopefully that made sense. Now, as for my thoughts on this book, I really enjoyed reading this book. Although it seems like it would go by rather quickly because it's only 224 pages, it's actually larger than the average book and there's more words per page than I was anticipating. So it took me a bit longer, which is why this review is going out a bit later than I anticipated. But in order to give it the best review I could, this is when it's going out. So sorry. I bet if we were to shrink this book down to like the average book size, it would probably be closer to 300 pages. So keep that in mind when picking it up, although that's still a rather short book in the perspective of how long books can be. Even so, I was gladder for it because it allowed me to savor even more from the story than I originally thought I would, so that was really nice. Overall, I felt like this book was very suspenseful and unpredictable. I had so many questions like all the time, and although there were some things that I predicted because that's what comes along with reading a lot of books, there was also a fair amount that caught me by surprise. So that was really nice because there's not a lot of books that do that nowadays because I've read so many books. From the beginning of this book, I loved Karissa Laurel's writing style. Like, I thought her prose was so beautiful, I loved her descriptions, and that never let me down throughout the book. I felt the same way the entire time. I just loved her writing so much. I remember this point around the middle of the book where I literally set down the book and I was just like, wow, that description was so beautiful. And I literally, like, I'm 99% sure that I said it out loud to myself. Like, it was that much. There's no one in here except for my fish over here, and there's no one who I would be saying it to. It was like literally I had to express it verbally because I just loved her writing so much. So her prose is on point. Writing gets an A+. I loved the writing in this book. I also really enjoyed seeing the character development within this book, specifically for our main character, Evelyn. She starts out as this spoiled rich girl who really has no perspective on how life is for people who don't have a ton of wealth, but her experiences within this book give her a larger understanding of how the world works when you're not living a high life. So I really enjoyed reading her go down that path and watching her grow. At the beginning of the book, I was so frustrated with Evelyn. Like, I totally understood why everyone around her was so frustrated with her because I was like, why are you behaving this way when you're in this type of situation? Like, please stop. I felt like by the second half of the book that her actions were extremely realistic. There were times where I was just like, thank you for doing this, or thank you for saying this, or if you had done anything different than what you just did, you would have done it wrong and I would have hated what you just did. But she didn't. She acted very realistically and relatably. So thank you, Karissa Laurel, for creating such a relatable female protagonist for this book. I really enjoyed reading about her. The only thing that I wish we'd seen a little bit more was her life before the attack on her kingdom, when she was living like the high and mighty, rich, spoiled girl life, because the book actually starts in chapter 1 with the attack on the kingdom. So she's forced to flee within the first chapter. We never really see her in the world that she was previously in. It's mostly just referred to by characters and she'll be like, yeah, I used to behave this way. So I wish we had just been able to see her actually behave that way instead of just seeing her kind of in the aftermath. But other than that, I still really loved her character development. I thought it was incredibly well done and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the incorporation of romance within this book. I did not feel like it was incredibly overbearing. In fact, there was a solid chunk chunk of this book where Evelyn was on her own trying to survive, separated from any potential love interests. Even the parts that did have romance, I didn't feel like anything was too fast or hasty. I felt like it was a really nice slow burn romance, so if you do like slow burn romances, I recommend checking this out. It was really nice to see. By the end of this book, I definitely wanted to read more about Evelyn's future and more of her story. I felt like this book was more of a setup book for the rest of the series, which is not a bad thing. It just makes me really want to read the rest of the series like right away, so hopefully I'll get to do that in the near future. I definitely recommend checking this out because there were a lot of things that I really liked about this book. The one thing I wish we'd seen more of was, again, her life before the kingdom attack, and then I also feel like the world building could be worked on a little bit more, but other than that, it wasn't like it was confusing. It didn't really take away from the book. It just would have been cooler to see because I'm really into world building. So anyways, I definitely want to get my hands on the rest of this series, so hopefully I'll get to do that eventually. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you were excited about this book, or this is the first time you've heard about this book, or you've read this book, let me know in the comments down below. And if you are not yet subscribed to me, but you would like to be, go ahead and click the subscribe button and click the bell notification button to get notified for when I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon with another video soon. Bye! I'm sorry if you heard thumping throughout this whole video. I'm in a college dorm and people are moving in this week and there are weird noises coming from the floor upstairs.